palate cleanser to refresh us all after that refreshing discussion. It's apropos of nothing, and it's slightly inappropriate because it's related to Muhammad Ali in the town of the home of Sonny Liston. But indulge me, because driving over here, this snippet came on the radio, and I just said, he was such a compelling man, I just felt I had to find some way to work it in, and I couldn't, so I just stuck it at the beginning. So if you could play that video.
I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Man, dude.
I'm sorry, I mean, just an incredible man. Spiritual, social conscience, just unreal. I do have a connection to Detroit. My parents met here. My father went to Cass Technical, got electrical and mechanical degrees, went to Wayne State, Rensselaer. So I've felt the pain, if only virtually, of all of you electrical and mechanical engineers in the audience. I've also felt the pain of all of you in the audience who live with electrical and mechanical engineers. My mother, the last sort of traditional desk job she had was as the secretary to Howard K. Gandolo, who was head of safety for GM in the late 40s, early 50s. It's a strange title to have when you were adamantly opposed to the seatbelt, but we've come a long way. So, without further ado. So this is where we like to think we are, okay? That we have come a long way, that we have, crested Everest, if you will. And sometimes it feels like that, maybe every day. The reality is we're still at base camp. I think we're feeling that now after a day of this event. And if you've been coming to this event, you're having that Groundhog Day experience. Aren't we having these same conversations over and over and over again? So we're still at base camp, all right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. But if we're at base camp, what are we going to need to get up to that crest? We're going to need connectivity, and a lot of it, all right? And there's a few things here that may not be on your connectivity list, but if they're not now, they will be soon, including satellite, and I mean like Inmarsat, Intelsat type satellite connectivity, and I mean things like Li-Fi, something you should look into. DSRC, of course, although I think it's better suited to the fleet industry than consumer applications. And a few other little wrinkles there. HomeLink, that should be built into our telematics systems. Tolling, why isn't tolling built in and all the 7 non-interoperable standards integrated the way Gentex has done with TransCore? That should be in the telematics system, and maybe you could have your billing integrated with your vehicle bill. But things to think about, key is connectivity. So why are connections important? For software updates, okay? And we are steadily moving towards a complete software update capability in the car, and that has all kinds of implications for vehicle architecture that I'm not going to get into now. And it goes against a lot of deeply held beliefs in the industry about how we should build things and do things, and it's going to disrupt all of that because we simply must have software updating capability. Why? Because we won't have security unless we're able to be connected and able to update the software in the vehicle. In fact, at a very basic level, one of the things that Tesla does that's so clever is because they're constantly updating the software in the car, a hacker is dealing with a moving target, right? So the software is not frozen. It's not just sitting out there in the parking lot, it's always changing, okay? And how are we doing in doing this? Well, there was a little news yesterday morning which wasn't good news for any of us, and some of us in particular, so if you could play that video.
All right, time now for a check of the forecast, and I have a little assistant here with me. This is Sophia. You just saw her modeling, having her hair done. Sophia, thank you for helping me out. I can always use the help. So right now we have scattered clouds around, and we're looking for a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. Can you press the button for me, Sophia? Thank you very much. She's in control here. She has all of the power. Now you can see scattered clouds here, but we're dry. There's no rain in the forecast. One more press for me, Sophia. So let's talk temperatures now. It's a good-looking day. We have a mix of sun and clouds. Go ahead, you can press it. This one right there. All right. So you can see temperatures are now in the 50s all across the...
Can't get it? Don't have it? Okay. All right. Well, that didn't work. So some of you may know about this, and some of you may not. But so there was a software update in Lexus vehicles that went out, and it didn't brick the systems, but it put them into a loop. And the party that sent that update has rolled it back, and people were being sent to their dealers, et cetera. It turns out that some head units were impacted, some were not. So Aishin head units in these Lexus vehicles were not impacted by this update. Denso's were. But you can imagine as a finger pointing ensues, we have work to do. Hopefully, this will not be a broader setback. I've spoken with many of you this morning that hadn't heard about this, so I consider that kind of a good bit of tidings that not everybody even knows here or has heard about this, unless you were just partying too much to pay attention to the local news. But this was a global event. This was a big problem, and it affects a very broad supply chain. It has a lot of implications for what we're trying to achieve. Unfortunately, most of them negative. But maybe it's a learning experience, okay? It was interesting about the newscast was the way they talked about it, but you can find it for yourself. So we are putting more connectivity in cars, and most importantly of all, cellular connectivity. We are putting those embedding modems in cars, and 5G will be coming soon, and the significance of 5G coming into the car is, as Scott mentioned, you have a capability to turn every car into a hub, to have vehicle-to-vehicle communications, very low latency. But we have that today with DSRC, and the applications for enterprise use cases are actually far more compelling than the safety applications, which will take much more time to vet and prove and validate. But there are security concerns that are delaying things in making that progress. But the bottom line is everything is being connected, okay? I don't have the letters IoT in my presentation, but yes, we are connecting all things. And it is going to fundamentally change the way our industry functions and the way we use cars, and cars will be a focal point in that respect. But what's the conundrum that we're facing here? Well, wireless carriers don't understand car companies. And that should say car companies can't stand wireless carriers, okay? So let's try it again. Wireless carriers don't understand car companies can't stand wireless carriers. They are completely at odds in their business model. So AT&T and Vodafone, who are more or less the global leaders, I would say, are pushing data plans with high bandwidth versus OEMs who are looking to collect data with low bandwidth, or maybe even no bandwidth, just with Wi-Fi. This is a problem, but we need to be connected to our customers. The advantages to the carriers are obvious because smartphone sales are peaking. But the automotive industry just grows unabated globally throughout the world, whereas smartphone sales peaking is very bad news and has been very bad news for wireless carriers. They're clients of ours, and there's some minor consternation going on globally about what to do. Well, let's connect cars. So we're a big target market right now. We are the growth industry for the entire world for wireless connectivity. We're a huge focal point, okay? However, we're not getting along very well with the carriers as an industry. I don't know who to blame. It's finger pointing again, but I think there are common reasons for both of us to be connected. Both sides can solve one another's problems. But are we forgetting something? Again, we're still at base camp, remember? Safety. I think wireless carriers can have something to do about safety. There's very few car companies that are seriously exploring using the cellular connection for vehicle-to-vehicle communications, starting out using the cloud, which is something they should be doing to set the stage for direct vehicle-to-vehicle communications. Jaguar Land Rover, Volvo are in the forefront of doing this. Certainly BMW is enabling infrastructure to vehicle communications via cellular for map updating and applications of this nature, but not enough work is being done in this area. And to some extent, I blame the carriers because really it's in their interest to foster and promote the use of cellular in the car for something other than, I was going to put the headline in about AT&T wanting to deliver direct TV content to cars, which seems ridiculously absurd to me, but I understand the motivation, I get it, and when we have automated cars, that will make great sense. But in the meantime, safety is the primary concern, and carriers should dial into that, along with car companies, as a matter of fact. So what have we been talking a lot about here? We've been talking about gathering data, the vehicle data, the driver data, the contextual data that the vehicle's driving through. And why do we want all that? Well, we want to know what the driver condition is. We want to know what the nature of the road furniture, as we call it these days, is, because we're working towards that automated driving experience. And we want to find ways to process that data in real time, more rapidly, so there's going to be data moving back and forth. Low bandwidth, don't worry, and certainly taking advantage of Wi-Fi where appropriate. But we want to enhance the driving experience with connectivity, okay? Preserve the integrity of the vehicle. Planned enhancement versus planned obsolescence. So car companies today have cars on the road today in the US and elsewhere in the world with features that can be unlocked. And no, not just Tesla. Others have already put capabilities in their cars, more advanced capabilities, most of which are in the safety space, because you have cameras in the cars that are multifunction, that can do more than one thing, that have features and functions that can be unlocked magically after the sale, and suddenly you're adding value to the vehicle afterwards. You want to charge for that? Maybe. Certainly Tesla is, thousands of dollars, and people are paying. Anticipating and driver and vehicle needs. So OnStar got us started 20 years ago with responding to immediate needs in emergency situations. Now we want to anticipate those needs. And new contextual advertising experiences. Well, we learned yesterday that we don't have anything going on, basically, in terms of taking advantage of the connection in the car for a real contextual advertising experience, which is crazy, because the customer's strapped in and probably on his way to conduct a transaction somewhere. So that's a big open item for all of us. And I don't think we should be distracted. But ultimately, it's about automated driving, which is a completely different experience entirely. So I'm sharing this because TU Auto always wants some data or a perspective or an outlook on the future. So this is our outlook on the future, and you can see that the target of level 3 predominates, but we are working towards level 4. As the panel said, probably somewhere off beyond 2020, okay? That door-to-door experience. So the car of the future. So including this picture here, so some of you may know Chris Baroni-Bird and Dr. Larry Burns from GM and their book, Reinventing the Automobile. I recommend it. It's kind of an old book now, but it's worth a read because they had this vision of that little car there that sort of smushes up, and actually it ultimately turned into, morphed into this from GM, the NV, which was at the China Olympics. Kind of a precursor of an automated vehicle that you could step out from at the curb, and was intended for you and me or people who have difficulty, getting around, walking with handicaps, etc. The Google car, so they want to get rid of the steering wheel and the pedals, which starts moving us toward a public transportation. So if you're talking about the Google car, that's almost like, that's a public transportation vehicle, more or less. It gets you into the shared resource, and then you get into this kind of local motion pod kind of a vehicle concept. Again, something shared, or maybe something that could be reconfigured, reprinted, if you will, into something else completely, if you want. And then flying cars. And I'm not going to digress into flying cars, but NASA is seriously looking at flying cars. And given the traffic situation around the world, it may be the only way. But ultimately, where we may be headed. But maybe where we really are right now is this, the car as an app, okay? The car has been transformed into just something you can call on demand. So to review, some of you may remember my stance on this issue, and some of you may not. Do any of you remember what smartphones are for? Anyone? Customer acquisition? Smartphones are for customer acquisition, which means embedded telematics is for customer... Nobody read the homework assignment? Okay, customer retention. Embedded telematics is for customer retention. So don't try to sell telematics to people, okay? It's for you. It's for us. It's not for the customer. Well, it is, but they don't believe it. So remember, it's for you, and don't make them pay all the time. And we're getting there, all right? But what's going on with the smartphones? Well, we're getting smartphone gateways, but according to Kerry Tildes from Group M yesterday, nobody's connecting their phones in cars. I'm sure many of you would beg to differ. And this is we've updated this forecast a little bit, but the bottom line is people are and they should connect their phones in their cars and stop touching and looking at their phones when they're driving. And why is that important? Because cars are playing a powerful role. You heard Kevin talking about how smartphone integration in cars introduced the idea of data. So suddenly we could see the phone was in the car, it was connected. Now we can see what the driver behavior correlates to the data. And now it's introduced car hailing and car sharing. And there's a lot of confusion about car hailing and car sharing, and I won't give you a complete roster of all the applications that have emerged and all the innovation all over the world. And it was interesting hearing Scott talking about India because I was on that trip to Pune, India with Scott, and they have two-wheel ride hailing. Yes, and sometimes you've got 3 or 4 people on a two-wheeled vehicle. The two-wheel market is a very big market in Southeast Asia, okay? But you hear a lot of talk, including from Travis Kalanick of Uber, that they are going to undermine vehicle sales. And I'm here to tell you that traditional car ownership plus ride sharing plus ride hailing is going to be increased sales because it's about utilization of capacity, okay? Getting more usage out of the car. So the average Uber driver is driving 50, 60, 70,000 miles a year. You're getting almost a lifetime use in a single year. And that means more service opportunities. So what else did we forget about here so far at this conference? What's missing? What are we not really focusing on? There's new ownership models. That means new credit and financing models. That means new service and maintenance models. New insurance. What about the dealer? We haven't been talking about the dealer, okay? As an industry, our dealers should be this huge advantage we have over Uber, but somehow they're always like this second thought, like, oh yeah, those dudes. It's like, yeah, that's your customer. We sell to the dealer. We don't sell directly to the customer. Tesla does that. We sell to dealers, okay? So let's review. Maybe some of you read the other part of the homework assignment. Dealers hate, anybody? You're hanging me out to dry here. All right, dealers hate OEMs, okay? OEMs hate dealers, thank you. Dealers and OEMs hate insurance companies. Somebody got it, okay, very good. There's a gold star. And everyone hates the government. Okay, come on. All right. All right, we're back, we're together now. So, higher service lifetime vehicle connectivity. What is Tesla doing? Tesla's doing what we should be doing, but they don't have an internal combustion engine in their car. Higher service revenue capture and customer retention, improved recall repair rates, billions of dollars in saved warranty cost avoidance, billions captured from no longer neglected service maintenance repair work, billions in recall revenue. And what does that look like? That looks like, for one company, who will remain nameless, TU-Automotive, found that 4 million recall claims processed over a 12-month period translated into $416 million of revenue. There's money to be had in recall work and in integrating the telematics system with the customer relationship management system, and more importantly, with the dealer management system. Boring stuff, big bucks, okay? And also some data from Piston Data talking about this whole recall. I mean, I took this line out of a blog I wrote, but I think it's apropos, and Mark Rosekind was here yesterday. NHTSA's pimping for our industry, for the dealers. They're out there pimping with all these recalls, forcing us all to come back in. And it's no joke because it's the airbag that could take your life, all right? This is serious stuff, and there's serious money at stake. So, and just some data here that was put together by CX3 Marketing on where recalls are coming from, and they are increasingly coming from software. And yes, we have more and more software in our cars, so we need to be connected to take care of that software. Oops. So, before I show you my last slide, can we do this video? Don't let me down, please. So here is a vision of what the future of our industry might look like, I think anyway.
Driving has always been about one thing: freedom. To go where you want, when you want, and how you want. So why has owning a car become so restricted? With maintenance, insurance, costly repairs, and long-term commitments, that's not freedom. And if you drive for a living, that's your bottom line. It's time to reimagine what car ownership can be. It's time to Flex Drive. Flex Drive offers you a simple, convenient, and flexible subscription program that gives you access to a fleet of cars. It's more practical than traditional rental programs and more flexible than buying or leasing. With the Flex Drive mobile app, you can browse and select from available cars and choose what meets your needs. So, what do you feel like this week? Want to save at the pump with a hybrid? Go big in an SUV, or ride in style and luxury. Easy, swap anytime. One simple payment covers everything: the car, the insurance, maintenance, even roadside assistance. There's no credit check, no long-term commitment, and no down payment. With flexible weekly or monthly payment options, you only pay for what you use. And if you drive for a ride-sharing service like Uber, you can easily upgrade your status, make more money, and never worry about mileage, wear and tear, or downtime for maintenance. It's time to enjoy driving on your own terms with Flex Drive, the new way to car. Download the free app to view available cars in your area.
So maybe next year we'll be at the top of the mountain, not at the base camp, and I thank you for your attention this morning.